at least if they didn't know what I was, I'd be like this.
Okay. I have two of them. Wait.
Here it is.
There you go. Adam,
This is so big, like,
I didn't get through my bill.
we have court.
thank you.
And if Brett, the prosecutor, is sitting over there and the defendant's sitting here.
All right, I call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the Express Times and Star Gazette, satisfying the Open Public Meeting Act. If we could please stand for silent prayer and then flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Look at this, bro.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 19th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
Flat,
Yes.
Van Loo, yes, Angeli,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. Motion to pay the bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department and approved by the majority of the members listed on the bill list.
So moved.
Second.
Becker,
I just had there's a couple on here that I need further questions
We'll
on.
check, yeah, we'll talk about them in executive, yep.
Yes.
Flat,
Yes.
Angeli,
Yes.
Van Loo. Yes, and I have to say I like the new method.
Thank you.
Kudos to you, our CFO.
Did everybody want, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, public comment. This is how we're going to do this, just at the new building. Right over there, we have a sign-in sheet. There is a microphone which is linked. If you could please, you will not be on the camera, but your audio will be. If you could please say your name and your address after you write it down, that way we can audio know who you are when Wanda goes to transcribe meeting minutes. Does anyone have public comment pertaining to agenda items only? Yes, sir. If you just come up and sign in and state your name.
Yes, Les Nichols, 44 Melix Woods Road, I'm a Pinacon Township resident. I had a question about all these extra charges on here. Every time we come, there's things that were discussed, and we have charges for thousands of dollars for phone lines and signs and stuff. It's always extras and extras and extras. About a year ago, we had, or maybe more, we had an officer left, and it was mentioned to leave it in the salary for overtime and other things. No, we had to cut the show. But since then, this has taken on the signs of a shell game. It's like every month, it's thousands, 6,000, 14,000, more software, more signs, more this and more that. And then we beat up our employees about holidays, and then we're going to authorize somebody for $98 an hour, and residents call the wages of our employees excessive. I thought privatization was to save money. For $98 an hour, I mean, that's pretty good pay. Is there any comparison done? Is this compared to anybody can do it cheaper? I can't believe that $98 is going rate for contractors compared to our police and employees. Just every month, and how many, for a couple of phones, how many thousands of dollars are these phones worth? Oh, $5,815 for a couple of phone lines and a code. Did anybody price that? The phone business is very competitive. I mean, it's almost $6,000 for one item. And this is a second or third additional. It was $14,000 for wire, another $6,000 for this, and another $6,000 or $9,000 for software, and then there's another $3,000. Is there ever going to be an end to all these thousands and thousands every month that going out of here for these extras? That's my question. But they have most of these items.
Well, to comment on the signs, if you came in the building tonight, you'll realize there are no signs in the building, so we felt legally we have to get signs. Second, once we moved in, we had the bare minimum of phones. After furniture and other objects were put in the building, we could install the extra phones. They were not located, I think ideally in every room, or some rooms I don't think even had phone lines, so that was to make sure they were in there. The municipal building project, it initially went out to bid, and then the town pulled it back in to save money. When we were looking at the project, it did not make sense to save on these smaller items. If you're going to get a brand new building, it would make sense to have it fully functional rather than have some rooms that don't have internet access or don't have telephone access. So that's what a majority of these costs are. As far as the $98 an hour, you referenced to the website, our webmaster recently resigned due to a personal issue. We felt as a township, rather than have someone do it as a side job, we would hire a professional service. This is a top-rate company that we think will be very good for our township. I welcome you to look at Stafford Township's website, Brick Township, or Monmouth County. It'll be allow us to have information consistently updated, and it's a company, so we don't have to worry about personal issues potentially causing that individual to leave our township, and have consistency with our internet presence. So that's really a majority of what these costs are. Anyone else on council wish to add?
To answer Les's question about are these going to continue? I mean, I got kind of tired of looking at change orders too, but I mean, we're here. I mean,
Yeah.
are these going to continue?
No, this is pretty much it, yeah.
And also, just to add also, some of this work involving the additional phones from Cooper, for example, it's for the police department, and there are things that are required, like a phone for somebody who is a prisoner. They're allowed, I guess, are they still allowed one phone call?
Oh, they can make more than one.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's, so it's things like that that are required that we need to have in place.
Well, I agree with the mayor, before you want to go the whole 9 yards and make it fully functional, but are we to believe that all of these extras for the last several months, add-ons were all omitted from the original contract?
I wasn't
Yeah,
around
they
for
were.
the original contract, but I think it was.
There were, yes. Yeah, there were. Yeah. Any other public comment pertaining to agenda items? There being none, is Beth Styler Berry here? From the Muscat, I do not see her.
She didn't go down.
Yeah, me neither. We will just move on then to the engineer's report. Kevin Benbrook is in Franklin Township. He'll be here probably in a half hour. So Gwen, you can give your report now, I think, if you're ready.
Okay, I only have a couple items. Regarding the Walmart Supercenter property, one of our inspectors happened to be over there shopping and noticed that there was a lot of signs that were down. I don't know if I brought this up last month. So Kevin Benbrook had sent a letter to Walmart's attorney to try to get these signs put back as they're supposed to be, and also to discuss, what we need to do to take over the road. We still haven't taken over Bliss Boulevard, and the county hasn't taken over Greenwood Street Extension. Their attorney has not gotten back to him. Kevin also asked him about Title 39 jurisdiction. He hadn't gotten back to him about that either. But he did state in the letter that as of the 6th of the month, if you hadn't heard, we were going to go ahead and assume that meant he could do it. So I did put together an ordinance to have enforcement of the traffic control measures out there. I also called the engineer that I dealt with from Bowler Engineering and asked him if he could possibly try to prod Walmart into getting this work done. And I called the county engineer. So the county engineer is going to have the county council reach out to Walmart to try to get their issues resolved. They had some issues regarding the street that they wanted some changes made. The engineer that I talked to is also going to try to reach out to Walmart or to another entity that he knows. So we're going to try to get resolution of that whole thing within the next few months if we can. So, And the Title 39 ordinance that I put together relates to the Walmart property, but the White Castle and Wawa are actually separate parcels. They're not separate pieces of property, but they're under different lease agreements. So the ordinance is only for the Walmart property. I don't know if you would want me to reach out to Wawa and White Castle and see if they want us to do
I have a-
enforcement on their properties also.
I have a question. On the map, I couldn't tell, but for Route 22, who owns the property for the yield signs or the stop signs going onward to 22? Because I imagine that's probably, I mean, other than the fire lanes, that's probably a significant area for,
Any intersection that involves a county road or state road does not show up in our ordinances. That's all under the jurisdiction of the state to include it in their ordinances and.
so that already exists. Okay.
But anyway, would you want me to talk to Wawa and White Castle?
Would that have to be a separate ordinance?
Yeah, because they're different lease parcels, so.
Well, I'm sorry, would Wawa and White Castle have to be separate?
Yes, they're each
Okay.
separate parcels, separate lease parcels.
Does anybody have any thought on that?
I know if the chief had any thoughts, are there?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially if we're dealing with minor motor vehicle accidents up there. People
That's true.
Not
Yeah.
looking, things like that.
I have a question for the property that has not yet been constructed. How would we handle that? Could we do that now too? It really doesn't have ownership yet as far as an individual tenant.
No, there's not even any signs there to enforce, but that would be something that maybe the land use board could make sure that that gets put in.
Part of the application? Okay.
Resolution of approval now that they authorize that jurisdiction for the township. So,
Okay.
I'll contact Wawa and White Castle and see what I make out. And this is just a minor thing, but the county engineer's office called me to say that they'd been notified that trucks in excess of 12 tons are going over the Still Valley Road Bridge, the truss bridge by the mill. And they want to put a sign up on Edge Road, or on Still Valley Road near Edge Road to show a 12-ton weight limit on the bridge. Had NASCAR permission, and I told them they could do that.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, do we want to move into council reports?
Oh, wait a minute, Jim. When the septic system, you'll look into that tomorrow,
Yes. Yep.
see who did it. You
Yep.
have to, because there's something wrong with it.
Well, you should actually be able to go right through your general contractor about that because he hired the sub.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, it was all under one contract.
Okay, Jim, tell Ben to look into that.
They are.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we had a meeting about
Because
that
that has
today.
to be fixed.
Okay. No, I'm aware. We had a meeting about it today. After you left.
Oh, okay.
Gwen, I have a question for you. I received a complaint I don't know if the engineer is the right person to go to, but I received a complaint from a resident about when the hydrants are flushed. Do you, yeah, but do you know if there is any type of resolution or ordinance that a town could have that would require a water company to give notification of when something like that's going to happen? So that if people, do you know if anything like that has ever been done?
I know that I got a phone call from my water company telling me my lines are going to be flushed next week. So I know it's been done, but I live in Pennsylvania.
Oh, so maybe
But
it's
Kevin
different.
might be able to.
Okay, because
that.
that's something we should consider, because I received a few phone calls from some residents that suggested
Yeah,
that.
they actually, our water company posted on the website as far as you can get an update on the day, the tentative anticipated day, and then you can check it each day to see if the schedule's changed.
Okay,
Yeah, or contact Aqua.
yeah, okay. All right, thank you, Glenn. Beth, do you want to go right now? If you're ready?
I can be ready anytime.
All right, great. Well,
Set up, because I actually have some slides to project them on any blank wall, so I don't know what's easiest. If I put that back there, then you're a member of the.
Oh, we have a screen.
We actually have a screen that we can try out.
Operate the screen.
We can try it out.
Get the screen down 101.
We could try that out, yeah.
Is there a switch we put or something?
Oh,
I
we,
wasn't instructed on that.
The only thing is
Don't
the
know, I would imagine.
projector is gonna have to be high enough so that I can hit the screen.
oh, we have a plug
yeah,
down
there's
there
a
that
light.
you can just plug it.
Well, shall we try it? All the lights are going to go on and on.
That's your main control right there, it's gotta be in there. Yeah, hard to figure out.
Yeah, I'm more concerned that the table, is projecting onto the dais,
And
so
she
it's
set it on top of
it's
the.
high. Is more my concern. Yeah, if you have,
Yeah, right
there's
here.
plugs right here. So that might be the best, and I can just, I have something to advance it.
Actually, if we don't have the screen, we can still use the wall.
I can definitely use a blank wall.
Let's use the wall, I don't want to monkey up anything.
All right, so in that
To
case,
find out.
I think what might be easiest, if you two don't mind, if I use that wall, and that way you guys are mostly generally, okay, I think that'll work best.
I don't want to mess
Required.
anything up. I don't want to press anything I don't want to mess up.
I'm sure it's computerized somehow.
You plug it in, I don't know how to put this, I don't want to hit
Have
anything.
any techie people out there.
This outlet's all up here, there's on.
There's plugs in there, Jeff, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna move my.
Sorry. The problem, we did see it once, but I don't want to hit anything, and
Yeah, no,
Very
better
good.
safe than sorry, I agree.
I can tell you, we do have Wi-Fi in here, so if anyone has any,
That will help with-
yeah, there is Wi-Fi.
I have a video which I have on my laptop, but it plays better if I can play it directly from
Yeah,
my very short video.
The building should come with a user's manual.
yeah.
I don't think anything comes with a user manual.
Yeah.
Get the screen now? You know how to get the screen?
It's part of the contract, I think. Yeah, it's part of the contract.
We got it up there now.
It's just a lot of money. That's part of the contract.
Probably.
Ah, there she goes.
What'd you push? Call 911? No.
Was good.
All right, now turn this off.
Of course, now she's got it set up.
Do you want to turn the other way?
I can, I just have to re-plug, which is not a big deal.
Or do you want to go that way?
We have a plug right
Yeah.
here.
Let's leave it. Now we know.
But now we know.
Public Wi-Fi, there you go.
I do have a short video that was made by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, which plays better if I do it on YouTube. So, but first I have just kind of a. My name, for people who don't recognize me, my name is Beth Styler Barry, and I'm the Executive Director of the Musconetcong Watershed Association. So I'm here tonight to kind of give an update on the Fineville Dam removal, and talk a little bit about the next dam up, which is the Hughesville Dam. Sorry, my computer is showing its age, so it takes a minute to load up, but then we should be good to go. It's pretty short, just lots of photos. And if anybody has a question as I'm going through, I'd be happy to ask. You know, you don't have to wait till the end, just raise your hand. Sometimes it's easier when the slide is up if you have a question. For me to just go ahead and answer it then. Okay, I'm sure everyone recognizes the former Fineville Dam. This was taken the day before the dam was removed, and you can see the whole bunch of big old trees hanging up on it, which is a fairly typical situation. I think those were deposited probably during Irene or Lee or one of the other big storms that came through. This is an area, there is down here. And this makes kind of an interesting photo because you can see in the next photo, again, here's the dam, how the dam helps to create a kind of a bottleneck to the regular flow of the stream. Part of the studies that were done in advance of the removal were engineering studies that we do for any dam removal. That includes studies to make sure that dam removal will not increase flooding up or downstream. You have to show that you are either going to improve the flood situation or leave it unchanged. And in this particular case, studies show that in a 20-year or 50-year storm, you get up to a foot or more of protection from flood. And that's something that would be most pronounced right in here. And then the further you move away from the dam, you have, you see less of that effect. So again, here's Fineville. This is about 24 hours after Irene. This is the house right on the dam that we saw in the first photo. So the dam is still in place here. And you can tell a little bit from the hydraulics that the dam is still in place. But of course, the wall of the dam is just about right under this tree. If you kind of keep that tree in mind when we look at the next photo. Typically, the dam pool would have been right around here at the foot of this tree line. Now that tree line is here, and you can see that without the dam, at the point where the dam was, the river is now about 4.5 feet lower. The dam is about 9 feet high, and the rule of thumb is that the lowering of water at the point of the dam is about half the height of the dam. And then again, that is kind of, you have to prorate that as you go up. So once you're 500 feet up, it's about 2 or 3 feet lower than it used to be. 1,000 feet up, maybe you're 1 foot lower. So the further away from the dam former position, the less you'll see in a water elevation change. But again, the dam pool was about there. So these houses right here have, this much capacity every time it rains now. So while it wasn't done primarily for flood control, it will offer some relief from flooding. None of the dams on the Musconetcong were put in place for flood control, none of them. All of them except for one were put in to generate power. The other one, the last one, was put in to create swimming pools for recreation. But none of them were put in to hold back floodwaters. They were all designed to generate power. None of them use anymore. So this is the actual day of the meeting. Get this thing correct. Should be able to get this little video. The second one. So this is what happened. First, the guy went in with a hydraulic hammer, and the dam fell apart so easily that he didn't really need to went back to the bucket and just kind of pulled it apart. So this is Veterans Day. This is November 11th of 2011, and about 80 or 90% removal was complete within 8-hour workday. And it was very anticlimactic for long-time studies and everything. So very uneventful, surprisingly easy. I actually talked to the operator because the dam really had only about 6 or 8 inches of concrete shell, and inside was very unformed aggregate of stones. And I asked him, why don't those big giant trees come through the dam? And he said it's only a matter of time. He said eventually the dam would have taken itself out, which would have been cheaper and not required permits. That did not happen in time. So this is the engineer photographing the interior of the dam. And again, here you see the former dam pool height. This is an archaeologist who came out to study every time they hit a timber, as they were removing, anytime they hit anything that looked to be a remnant of the former dam, they stopped work, and he is from Glove Associates, an archaeological firm, and they would measure and photograph and document anything that they felt was a bit of historical significance. This is what the dam looked like about 6 months after, and this is a great picture for us because a lot of times people fear, what is it going to look like after? And to be honest, in my wildest dreams, I never thought it would look this healed in such a short time. But this is really only the next spring. You can see the willows just starting to leaf out. So we pulled out in November. And eventually this lighter color stone here, which sort of stands out, will have a deposit of, river silt and sticks and whatever on top of it, and that will begin to look. It is in fact local stone. It's not something that was brought in off-site. So it's just particularly clean, and you'll now see, that start to darken over time, so it looks like this stuff. And under here is a constructed ripple or a cross vein in the site of the former dam, which helps to, have to still have a grade to get over here, so that helps with some grade control. And also, it helps to make sure that the sound of the river remains the same. So you had a ripple and dam there before, and we continue to have that now. In the following spring, we put in 265 trees in the newly exposed bank and along the riparian area. This is something that permission from the property owner to do. And then we had one of the driest Junes in July ever, so we actually had to get a pump and bring in a pump. These are 2 of our interns, and this young man's uncle was a fireman, and that's actually a fireman's big, not like a whole big hose thing, probably about 25 pounds. But we did pump water and water them until we started to get some reliable rainfall. This is a maintenance day on that buffer, so we go back in and make sure that the beaver cages are still in place, and clean out the weeds, and it just got mowed again today, as a matter of fact. But these kind of days bring out, anywhere from 10 to 20 local people usually who, want to participate in the project. As part of this project, and we don't do this all the time, we went back and put in these engineered banks along the river there because this is something that would have healed itself over time, but because of the dam pool being, the dam has been there for 200 years, we had very sheer banks. And because it was located so very close to that park and the ball fields and everything, we thought we might have kids wandering over from time to time. So what we did there was to grade and put in these engineered banks. This is a burlap that will eventually degrade and just leave the soil in place once the plants take hold and know then work to keep the banks in place. But not something we typically did, but we thought in this particular case, it was something we were able to get additional funding and get that done as well. We did a contract with putting that soil in place, putting the grass seed in place, and here you see it coming up with the burlap. This is another thing that will, over time, look more natural than it's right now. These are, we like to measure the success of these kind of projects, not in years, but really like a decade, so we just want to go back and see. But it's been, extraordinarily successful state. The next phase, and if you go down on Musconetcong Street now, you will see a big load of boulders there, right along the street, again on the same property owner who owned the dam. This is about $25,000 worth of boulders and transportation for boulders that we were able to get donated. And they will go in, a contractor will go in sometime after June 15th and create, as you saw at the location of the former dam, that artificial cross here, which was very, it was done in a way that it looks natural to the river. He will put in a few more of those. That helps, it creates habitat. The design of that, which is done by an engineer, helps to focus the energy of the stream so that the storage erosion, the river doesn't come around the corner and continue to tear into the bank. So it's designed for boater safety, to direct flows, for fish habitat, and they will be as kind of invisible as the one at the former dam site is now. So you won't see that big giant boulder. It will be placed about 6 feet into the ground, and only the top of the boulder will be in place. And this is the design for that. So here you're looking at the former dam site, and then the river, the project area is actually split in two. So this is the first, 750 feet or 1,000 feet. This is the second. So here is Route 627, the main road, so the orange drive. So those other cross bays will go in here and here. And that's better there for now. And again, that should be done in the next few months. You cannot work in the stream during March 15th to June 15th for reasons of fish production. I'm also still waiting for the permits, which take 90 days, but not 90 regular days, 90 PPP days. So more like 108 days. But we're waiting, and like everyone else, sometimes people think, they're kind of tree huggers and get, this kind of stuff. People, but actually, it was potential habitat for a particular dragonfly, and that cost us not being able to do the project before that March 15th blackout date. The lots were there, everything was there and ready to go, contractor ready to go, but while they explored further, if there was any impact on that dragonfly, we then went into that March 15th away from that. This is something else which may or may not be of interest to anyone in this room, but you may remember that there was a well study done in conjunction with the removal. There was concern expressed about whether or not lowering of the dam pool would have effect on some of the local shallow wells. So what we did, we had to go out and get some more funding, and we did a study with hydrogeologists, and NRCS participated as well. And what they did was to measure the wells, went to every single house and asked every single house in the area if they wanted to participate in having their well level measured before and after the removal. So everyone who signed up had a free well test. We actually also tested the water quality at the same time if they chose that to that as well. And then their level, and then we had a couple of controls in there. There's a control well in the ball field, control well right here by the dam, and another control well here to help us, just keep an eye on, again, more controlled situations. So we did it about 30 days before the dam was removed. We did it another 30 days or so after, and all of those things remain in place in case we, at this point we're a year into it, and we haven't had an issue, but we'll keep it in just a little bit longer. There's also a state reference well that is, pretty far off the mile north. So measured against all of those things, we did not see any movement in the private wells responsible for the level. And including the only one that showed anything that was even like 0.2 of an inch was this one right here, which is, not even a homeowner's well, this is a reference well. And this is, we did a lot of habitat work on this too, putting underwater photography to show the change in habitat in the stream there. So in the beginning, of course, behind the dam, you have lots of silt. It's kind of not a habitat at all for things that like to live in much more habitat, a very rocky, fast-flowing, cold, highly oxygenated bottom. And so we watched it change from that silted over bottom back to its more typical habitat. We were actually invited to present the results to the National Water Quality Monitoring Conference out in Portland, Oregon. So we presented there last spring. This is actually a question I have. Please, I'm sorry about that little subtitle there. That is not correct. This is in the river. It is about 1,500 or so feet above the dam. And when we were doing some monitoring in advance of that in-stream work, we were going to put the big boulders in, we came across this. And no one knows what it is. Wondering if anybody knows what this might be. And we need a real old timer because we think it might be close to 100 years old. It runs across the bottom. It comes across right here, kind of hidden by this ripple. And it is in the bank here. And it also continues, and it's in the bank in the common side. With the tax maps to both sides, and we cannot find any easement. There's no not big. There's nothing. So we're a little bit perplexed and trying to find out if anybody knows anything about that. It's a good tool to get this going.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we're going to ask this homeowner. We may look at their. This gentleman right here that owns this property has already looked at his deed. There's no easement on that property.
See, there he is right there.
That's one of our volunteers. He was out there, just usually only have somebody in the water, you have somebody else there. But anyway, 4 inches in diameter, and we have no idea what it is. What might be in it or not in it or whatever. So we have to find that out, obviously.
You can email me those pictures. I can run it by the historic commission.
That would be wonderful. A bunch of them. This one I mean is more just to show you the scale of it. It's about 3 or 4 inches in diameter. So, not obviously a gas line or a water line or something.
What do you believe it to be made of, iron or steel? Or?
It's iron. It's iron. It seems to be quite old. It's visible from the halfway part of the river and then toward the Hunterdon side, and then it begins to slowly, go a little bit lower, so it's not visible really from the Lawrencetown bank at all.
And you say it was about 1,500 feet north or feet east
Upstream
of
of the dam. Yep. It's right on this bend here, so if you recall, this is the house on this corner, out of the shot is the home that always gets really nailed in flooding, the one that is on that corner gets really, really bad in flooding. This is up from that. So this is almost on that bend where you start to go up to 627.
I have a question on that. Is there any factories around there or old mills or anything?
Well, we actually talked to the people who ran the old
On
light
either side of it?
We can't find any.
And it's pretty flat. Is there a hill anywhere near there?
There's actually, here it's flat until you hit 627 and you have that steep incline up to the highway. And on the other side, you can picture if you're driving on Bellis Road, you are going up to the homes there. If you're on Bellis and the river is here, there is an incline up to the road. We actually have something like this up in between Lebanon Township, Hunterdon, and Washington Township, Warren County, so quite a bit upstream. And it's actually an oil line, pumping oil from one side of the river to the other. So we're aware of that.
The reason I asked about a hill or a mill or a factory or something like that, years ago before commercial power was available, it was very expensive to have electric bought in. So what they would do was dig a pit, and there's a gas for the carbide pit, a gas generating pit, and it would be gravity feed down the hill to a point for refrigeration, things like that.
We'll definitely look that up.
So it may be a transportation line for old gas to be transported that was trading back before electricity was.
And the dates, would be right, because this is it appears to be quite old. Quite old. Something else to look at. So, still trying to figure that out. I'm hoping somebody would say, oh, yeah, of course.
100 years old.
Can't try. Can't win if you're not trying, right?
Okay, so now what is next is moving upstream. You're familiar with the Cypress Road Bridge. Upstream of that, and actually right across if you're traveling up towards 519 and you have that Warren Glen luncheonette on this side, if you look immediately to your right there, you can see through as long as it's not covered, you can see through the woods there another dam. That is what we call the Hughesville Dam, that powered the plant that's now defunct at Cypress Road. That plant and that dam is now owned by the same company that owns the Warren Glen Dam, which is in behind the big old fiber mart company, or in a finance. It was bought by a kind of a clearinghouse that went in and stripped out all the equipment. They tried hard to sell the property. They haven't been able to sell the property. Because the dam behind the Warren Glen plant, not what I'm about to show you, but it's classified as one that could potentially cause a loss of human life. They're required to go in and either repair it, which is much more expensive than moving it, or they have to remove it. So we actually have a letter from them asking to, assist and supporting the removal of those two dams. So as you have experienced, this is not a quick process, but in fact, studies, so here we are, here's the Delaware, the Regalsville Dam remnants, which are gone, the Fineville Dam, which is now gone, and now we're up, got 2 miles or so from the confluence, maybe 3, and this is the Hughesville Dam and the Warren Glen Dam, both owned by IPP, and they've expressed an interest in removal of both of those dams. So working with that whole partnership that we work with on the Fineville Dam, which includes a big mix of, other nonprofits like American Rivers and Government and New Jersey Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, New Jersey Dam Safety, a whole bunch of different entities will begin to explore the costs and the feasibility of removing the Hughesville Dam. This is a photo of the Hughesville Dam, and in this case, these things really do a number on the river, on the hydraulics of the river. So here you have the entire spillway exposed. And this dam is about 19 feet or so. It's about twice the size of the Fineville Dam. And actually, I was taking a potential funder out there, and you can actually see trout trying to swim up here over and over and over again. They go and they get exhausted and they get almost to the top and then they slide back down and then they try again. So if you're trying to get a funder to believe that trout would really come up here, it's great because we can pay to do something down there. But in fact, these fish have extremely long memories, and that genetics is pretty powerful. So here's another shot of the spillway a little bit higher water. Here's an aerial. So here is that dam, and you can hear the impoundment of that dam because there wasn't an impoundment in Fineville. So once again, we got some riparian work there, some planting. Here's Route 519. Here's the former fiber mark plant. So upstream of that is the Warren Glen, which is really not even in the beginning of the study yet. Because funding is really exciting. And I think that's actually all I have. I have a short, it was a video done by U.S. Fish and Wildlife, a little kind of mini documentary, about 6 minutes long, and it is on the Fineville Dam. They were one of our funders and very happy with the project, and so they actually sent some videographers out and a little video that they use, as examples for other communities to see how these things go.
spot to drop the fishing line or kayak in the water. We took the right combination of planning, skills, funds, and people to return it to its natural state. Just over a year and a half ago, 9-foot high, 109-foot long concrete dam stood here, part of a series of dams that continuously harness the muskie at the spot for more than 250 years.
Most of these dams in this part of the state are obsolete. They have not been maintained, they're not up to current standards.
The dam played a valuable part in the history of Hinesville for hundreds of years, but it hasn't been used in 40 or 50 years. So it's not really any economic benefit to the town, and hasn't been for a long time. There's actually some safety issues too. Unfortunately, there's a couple of drownings here.
It's a dangerous situation, and removing the dam can certainly make this one safer river. I'll just be a very happy camper when this is out. The actual dam removal, I think we figured a total of about 3 days. It's going well, and I think it'll be another successful project.
Once that dam is removed, we'll go in and there will be about a week's worth of work doing stream restoration, moving around larger stones to create that ripple pool and run system.
You know, dam removals are, I think, a most rewarding type of restoration project to work on. And the reason why is because you get to be a bang for your buck. You're really restoring natural processes to a river. People need to understand why people wanted a dam removal, and why it's good for the river, and why the changes that a dam removal will bring start from the bottom of the river, literally, and, you know, really spread out to the entire coast. Habitat for aquatic insects will improve the sand in the food source for fish, you know, frogs, turtles, and then the things that you don't know. So, you know, that we don't know. So we'll improve habitat for things like herons, egrets, eagle.
Restoring the ecological integrity will help recreational fishing. You know, Warren County recreational fishing is a multi-million-dollar business, brings in a lot of fishermen and money to the local economy.
People who can kayak down the stream don't have to pick up their kayak or canoe, go around the dam. Now they can continue to kayak.
Area residents face experience in many cases. Homeowners, refer to it as first night of dam, close to Delaware. But thank you for water dam caused us to do it.
During Irene, the water, you know, came down, it came right in front of our house. People evacuated, and right after it was taken out, we had heavy rain again, and no water came down the street. So we knew that it was going to help with flooding.
There was some concern expressed about dam removal's effect on local shallow groundwater wells. And we did some research, and that research revealed that in over 20 projects in New Jersey and 200 dam removal projects in Pennsylvania, there was only one documented incident where a shallow groundwater well was affected.
And we were concerned when they took it out that we wouldn't hear it. You know, our veterans at night, we opened the windows and strip balls, and we get used to that after 13 years of being here. And we were concerned you wouldn't be able to hear that. But whatever they did, you could still hear the water flowing, and it sounds nice.
The process is a lengthy one, a thorough one, but it's a good one. It makes us think about every individual step, every individual natural resource concern, sediment, water quality, surface water, groundwater, wildlife, plants, air quality, natural and historic resources.
The reason for the Guard Watch for monitoring at Hinesville Dam Project is to document any exposed timbers or the previous dams that were in place. The earliest of which is the 1807 dam that we just found the remains of.
The overall cost of projects like dam removal tend to be very expensive. The good news is that once it's done, once it's completed, if it's done well, it's a walk-away project. You walk away, you don't have to invest any more money in it.
We removed 2 dams in the town of Hackettstown about
I'm done. If anyone has any questions?
I have a quick question. You said you monitored and checked several of the residents' wells. How did they come back as far as quality of the water?
That is something that we discussed with the individuals, and I'll tell you that, that's kind of water testing is a private thing. So every person had a visit and has their results, but it's not something.
Not public record.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I know.
I chair the environmental.
Is it might be a fair assumption though, if it went bad, we might have heard about it. Yeah.
You said you contacted residents along the river and asked them if they wanted to have their wells monitored. What was the criteria for contacting someone?
It had to be in the project area, which was defined as, actually, when I put that up and you can see the dots there, there's an outline. So it was from the dam and up, because of course, if their concern is that the dam pool lowering would affect it, if you were downstream, you're not going to see a lowering. If anything, you might see a couple extra increase. And then on the other side, the elevation between any private wells, that would be like on the Bellis side, is that? Okay. Once you started to get an elevation where the person's well was, 50 feet above the level of the dam, then it was an insignificant, change, the drop in. So we did it by the project area, which included elevations. We shot elevations at each of the test wells, the dam, and then each of the private wells, each of the elevations.
Fascinating presentation. All the work that you're doing. Definitely gave me a great perspective of what the Farmville Dam project is all about. I drove before and after, I said, oh, look, the dam. Now that we are, I drove before. I remember about 35 years ago, swimming in the next time. Above that fine, what is it called, fiber mark, like miles up there in the middle of the woods. How many dams have you identified going through there? I'm sure. Are you aware of another one above that?
Yeah.
Warren Glen, is there another one, another mile above? Is it still a Cohasset Township or is it in Greenwich?
It would be Greenwich, because even Warren Glen is no longer in Cohasset. The lower level is the Hugo Dam thing, but once you get above, I'm pretty sure 519 is very close.
Maybe that's it. How far above is that?
There are, when we ask DEP how many dams are on the river, you kind of get different answers, because some of them are in such a state of, they're 99% breach.
Well, that one in the video that was
right, and that's an interesting on the Regalsville. I mean, you knew it was there because you could see the regular, drop in the water. And actually, upstream of the photo that they showed, you could see something that almost looked like picket fence sticking out, pointing upstream. So that, you didn't know it was there. You could, get hurt if the water was on that. But that is enough to be an obstruction to fish migration. And it certainly is a hazard for recreation. So again, these things are not done to change flooding. We have to document that we are not making a negative impact on flooding, and that if there's any impact, it's lessening. But it is looked at from a whole bunch of different angles, one of them being fish migration. And for certain species, even a 6-inch change in elevation is too much if it continues for too long. So if they can do 6 inches, or 18 inches if it's over a couple of feet, but they can't continuously, do that. Oh, thank you very much. Any other questions or? Okay, our website is mustconnectcom.org. So if you think of a question, you'll find everybody's email and phone number and everything there. So if you like a question, or if you'd like to be involved in the monitoring, when we go out and we do that kind of testing or something, give us a shout, or the tree planting, anything like that. We never have a tree. Thank you very much. Anybody have questions?
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. All right, do we mind if I amend the agenda and we do the budget now? Is everyone okay with that? Sure. All right. Okay. All right, Bill, you good?
Let Bill or Lorraine explain, but we're gonna have to do that one resolution to amend the.
Yeah, Bill, do you want to give a little of what you know and then?
Good evening. We thought we were self-review every 2 out of every 3 years to rotate and meet the budget doesn't have to go before the state of New Jersey to meet all the criteria. Well, one of the things I wrote in the annual financial statement, when you had your change in treasurers and you had a gap there, bank reconciliations went down at the end of the year, and they said that was enough that we didn't qualify for self-review, which I was really surprised by that. So anyhow, it's another hoop we got to jump through. And the review, the only thing that came up with was we were right up against the 3.5% expenditure cap, and we had deferred charges that there's a rule that only 3% of the prior year's operating budget total is allowed to be outside the cap, the rest is the inside the expenditure cap. So I did my calculation, they came up with a different number, they were $9,930 some difference. So we had to put that, we had to amend the budget and move the money from outside the cap to inside the cap. But the amendment is so small that it doesn't meet the criteria that we have to advertise it and have another meeting. So what we are going to do tonight, if it's your wish, is we hold a public hearing. When we introduce the amendment, then we do a hearing on the amendment, and then if it is your wish, we adopt it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. Lorraine, do you have anything about the budget that you? Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to open the budget for public comment?
I'll move that.
Aye. Does any resident have any comment they would like to make about the 2013 Placon Township budget?
Sorry, yes.
There being none, do I have a motion to close? Yeah, just if you could state your name, sign in.
Jerry Kern. I was here at a lot of the meetings for the discussion of the budget. Happy with what the council's done and keeping it a flat budget. I believe it's flat, right?
Yep.
Stayed flat. I thought there was a lot of good effort, everyone's part to find savings where they could. I would hope in the future that would continue and maybe not just be flat, but actually lower the taxes for once in Placon's history. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment pertaining to the 2013 budget? There being none, do I have a...
Kevin Snyder. I didn't see the actual budget, so I don't know exactly what was fully in it. But I just have a question about some items that have been discussed over the past year, and if those items were included in the budget. I mean, I think a flat budget is great. It's always great. Lower than flat is even better. But I want to make sure that items that are going to be needed down the road, there's going to be money for them. I know discussions have been talked about for the fire truck that's going to be needed within the next couple of years. I was wondering if there's allocation for enough money to be able to pay for that. I know it was talked about since there was some extra money coming in to the township with the red light cameras and stuff, that possibly some of that could be used. I think that's what was originally earmarked for that program for safety. So fire truck would fall right in line with that. Is there enough budget? Is there going to be enough budget to get a truck? Also for infrastructure repair. I know we still have a big project on River Road that's not done yet. We put a Band-Aid on there a couple years ago, and it's, luckily we haven't had any storms big enough to do any more damage, but that infrastructure, and also was it Foch Boulevard was the last street we had over by Walmart there for that area of the township. We were looking at redoing that. I was hoping that something was going to go forward with that, so we didn't lose the bit of funding that we were going to possibly have for that.
Well, I'll begin with the fire truck. We plan on meeting probably, I think, in June with the fire company. I don't want to speak at a school, but I think it's this town council's intention to purchase the new fire truck. I think we obviously need it. We were able to receive a grant that will help purchase hoses from Congress, which was very nice. As far as the, and then I think we would be on a payment plan like last time. Yeah, so we'd be able to afford that with this budget. On the infrastructure, we have larger sums of money set aside for different projects that we will prioritize based upon, I guess, urgency of the different ones. We have a few other, I believe Maple Avenue is another one that we are now aware of, and also another section of River Road was another one. So there's several other projects that we are aware of, and we're going to evaluate to see where we could get grant money and which one's the most urgent to deal with.
If you're going out for to borrow money for the fire truck, you're going to have to go out to vote on that?
No, the lease purchase would most likely be, I believe, $90,000 a year, or similar to what we purchase now. So
go on the yearly expense, not the total.
Last truck they got, I think they put $100,000 down, and then it was so much per year.
Yeah, right. I remember doing that, but I was just wondering if you're going that route again, or you're going to try.
According to the fire chief, we wouldn't need to purchase another fire truck till 2029. So this would be a good investment for the township, and we wouldn't have to make a purchase like this for a substantial period. So
they're meeting right now to try to decide what kind of, what they want on the truck, et cetera, because of the fact it has to fit over in one home.
Also, was the sewer budget included in the money for this budget for the sewer? Anything? Like I said, I didn't see.
We didn't take any. We did not take any sewer surplus to offset any payments. We keep that out of sight, out of mind, and just kind of keep that. Is that correct? I don't think we touched any of our.
We didn't use sewer for
anything. Yeah, that was only for sewer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Now fund balance we used in the sewer, but it went from 205,000 last year down to 132,000.
And just to the red light, to clarify, we cannot, that money is in the, outside the cap, so we could only use a very tiny percentage, right? The way the state had set that up, Bill, so we.
The red light money goes into your overall fund balance that you see fit. The expenditure for the red light money is inside the expenditure.
But you can only use 3% of the prior year, yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up about that. I know it had been discussed before that possibly a good chunk of that could be used for the fire truck to lessen our need to go out for money, just pay for it.
Yeah, we won't have
And you
to
had
go
mentioned.
to bid, or not to bid. We won't have
Bond.
to go to bond.
Bond.
For the fire truck, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other public comment pertaining to the 2013 budget? There being none, am I moving to adopt?
No, now we have to introduce the amendment, hearing on the amendment.
Right now? Okay.
So we have to close this first.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's May and we're ready to adopt the budget. I think it's good that we can be able to do that, especially since we have a changing CFO.
Absolutely.
Next year, I'd like to see it even earlier, and like everybody, as a taxpayer here too, I'd like to see it lower myself.
Yeah, and I also, just on that point, I'd like to thank all of our department heads, CFO, professionals for the budget hearings that we were able to have and not, do it all at a couple council meetings. I think that made this process, I think, very successful this year. So, all right, so now do I have a motion to introduce the amended, or close the public hearing?
Okay, I move that we close the public hearing and introduce the amendment. Can you do that?
Yeah, okay. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay. Baker?
yes.
Swack?
Yes.
Danilo?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Okay. Now, do I have a motion to open the amendment for a hearing on the amendment? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, Baker?
Yes.
Swack?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
Danilo?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Do I have any public comment on the amendment to the 2013 municipal budget? There being none, do I have a motion to close the amendment?
Close public comment.
Close public comment, move to adopt,
And adopt.
and adopt, yeah.
I moved it.
Is there a second?
Baker?
Yes.
Swack?
Yes.
Danilo?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Now we adopted. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, now we have budget.
Yeah, budget's done. Very good. Thanks, Bill. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, do we want to, we'll go back now to council reports. We'll start with Frank.
Okay, talking about the sewer, there's another sewer meeting just last week, and their budget, the sewer, Phillipsburg Sewer Commission budget was approved. But interestingly, what came up in the meeting was the fact that the four outlying areas, Cohasset, Alpha, Greenwich, and Lopatcong, pay more than 50% of the budget for the Phillipsburg Sewer. And yet, out of the 9 voting members, we only have 4, or less than half of the voting members. And I pointed that out, and they requested if we could change that. I didn't get much enthusiasm from Phillipsburg folks, obviously. But their attorney suggested that we attend a meeting on May 21st, which is with the Highlands Commission and the Phillipsburg Sewer Authority. And I spoke to the mayor about it, and he said, yes, we're definitely going to attend that meeting. And so I think we can have our voice heard again there. The Historic Commission, Michael Margulies is seeking a grant to cover the Still Valley Tunnel wing wall work. I told them at the meeting that we were talking about the Shimer Manor and the fact that the sale price has been lowered and they're looking to sell it. And they expressed concern that the Shimer Manor is essentially being demolished through neglect. And I think that's, I wanted to ask Kevin about that, whether that is true and whether or not there's any recourse there. The tax assessment, the new tax cards were sent out finally. And I think things are going okay there. Obviously, people whose taxes went up aren't happy. People whose taxes went down are happy, and but we're moving forward on that. The Phillipsburg Mall, I think I'll let Kevin speak to that. There's some negotiations going on there that he has been addressing with the tax assessor. Essentially, the buyers of the mall bought the mall at a distressed sale price, and they're looking for an assessment at that distressed sale price, and we're not wanting to give them that type of assessment. So the CFO is happy to see the budget passed, and there's a motion that we are going to hire administrative clerk who will report to the CFO and primarily do purchasing. We're also accepting the resignation of the current treasurer position. We didn't have any problem with the treasurer, but it was a nightly position and we wanted more coverage during the day. And I think this person will be working 1 to 5 every day. And there'll be times when, I think there'll be fewer instances where there's a note on the door saying nobody's here because we're having more coverage during the day. That's about it, I think. I think things are going well. Oh, I also want to thank Lorraine for putting together the new purchase ordering process. I think it's going to work a lot smoother and the bills will be paid on time. There have been occasions in the past where we've had to pay interest because the bills weren't paid on time, and obviously nobody wants to pay interest when we shouldn't. So I think we're going to go forward on that.
All right, thank you. And I just would like to piggyback on that point that I think you and Lorraine have done a great job as far as kind of reforming the finance department. And I think it's become incredibly efficient, and it's, you know, you see where stuff's going, and council is not looking at 100 bills, they're looking at a lot less. And I think it's making things a lot more, you know, transparent for our members. So thank you for that, both of you.
Thank you.
Dave.
I just want to agree with that. I think it's a lot easier for each department head to take their bills themselves. They generally know what those bills are for. They can process and review them much more easier. I have the DPW report here from April 16th to May 15th. They did crack tar repairs on Victory Avenue, Liberty Boulevard, and Upper Still Valley Road, getting them ready for oil and chip. They drug the infields at Vangeli and Huntington baseball fields with a Sand Pro machine. They do that twice a week during the baseball season. They repaired 5 collapsing catch basins on Cemetery Road. They replaced the safety mulch in Huntington, Franklin Street, Vangeli, and Finesville Parks. And they installed all the safety upgrades to the play sets and all the playgrounds in the township. This was an insurance requirement from the township insurance company. They rolled all the baseball fields. They repaired the backstop fences at all the baseball fields. They did start roadside mowing. The DPW guys moved the clerk's office, tax collector's office, building department, finance officer, court office, all down here into the new municipal building. They ground the brush at the drop-off in the back here, the township cleanup. They set up and worked the township-wide cleanup, which was this past weekend. I talked to Jeff on Monday. He said everything went fairly smoothly. There was no problems. They finished cleaning out the court trailer, the police trailer, and the municipal trailer, preparing them to be removed from site. They hauled and disposed of refrigerators and garbage from the concession stand down at the Finesville Playground. They dug and repaired the water line. It was giving us problems there at Vangeli Park that caused us some high water bills there last fall. So that's been fixed. I have a note here at the bottom that the DPW department employees would like to thank all the other employees that helped move their office into the new municipal building. Your hard work was greatly appreciated. I know they were a big part of getting that move from the school down here and getting this new building up and running. And we're all glad to be here. Alpha was nice, but you know, our own home is nicer. That's all I have. Our environmental commission meets next Monday. We don't have anything real pressing. We'd like to try to get through I guess we call it not a reorg, but go over our bylaws and adopt the updated version of our bylaws. So that's the main thing on the agenda for Monday, along with some other issues. Land use, I can let you address that, Mayor, because I was absent last night.
You're so well at that. You know, always hand that one over to me.
Either way, from what I was told, it was not anything pressing last night. It was-
No, I think the next one will be
Right.
a lot bigger, yeah.
That's about all I have at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, Dave. Mary?
Excuse me. With the police report, they responded to 410 calls for service, and they issued 158 traffic summonses and made 31 criminal arrests. The criminal investigation unit opened up 31 cases. How do we know what cases get closed? Because every month you tell me how many cases are opened.
You know what, it's hard because a lot of these investigations are pending, they could be 2 days, they could be 2 months. So it's kind of impossible,
Okay.
you know, without actually going through every case and reading it and stuff, so. They open a lot.
It seems, yes. Well, hopefully they do get closed. All right, and there were 25 motor vehicle accidents that were investigated though. And the department completed its semi-annual firearms recertification, so hopefully everybody's already certified now. And the best part of all though is completing the move from the police trailer to the new digs downstairs, which are really fabulous. And that is my report.
Great, thank you. Sal?
Okay, the Chambers property. We're working on that, continuing. Kevin, do you have anything to say about that? You wrote.
On Chambers, I did, at the direction of the council at the last meeting, I did direct a letter to Paul Arrow, the attorney for the estate. I got a phone call from Mr. Arrow. I've returned that phone call a couple of times, and he has not reached out to me further, so I don't know where we want to go from here. If there's been no further activity at the property, then I guess the next step would be to proceed with our construction office to, reinitiate the complaint process. Has there been any activity out there since?
They worked Saturday on it. I counted 5 men.
Okay.
There has been one dumpster that has been removed from the property in the last 10 days.
It's up to you guys if you're, I will try to call him again. If you want to give him a little more time, if you see some progress out there, it's kind of up to.
Well, I think regardless, we should issue some sort of timetable. I don't think that would be a bad idea. I don't know what.
Timetable's a good idea, but I do think, more has been done in the last 2 months.
Yeah, they have been working, and I don't want to, kind of turn that off.
Let me, I will update you guys by email. I keep playing telephone tag, and it's more of a one-way phone call. Follow-ups to me. One of my
Well,
calls.
Kevin, why don't you ask him when
That's what I was
they
gonna say.
anticipate the cleanup, and then if we don't find that to be an acceptable, I'm thinking 2 months, that's got to
I'm
be,
going to say 30 days for at least to, get all the major junk off the ground, see what his timetable is, and that's what I was going to suggest, Mayor, exactly on those lines. If he doesn't give us some reasonable timetable, I can let you guys know, and the construction official can initiate that complaint on his own. We don't need another meeting.
okay.
I can assist him with that if, once I get the timetable that they want to comply with out to you guys, if there's a general consensus that's not acceptable.
Okay.
Okay, I have a report here from the Board of Health. We looked at several properties. 99 Municipal Drive, we had septic problems. 124 Pinchers Point Road, demolition. 148 River Road, we abandoned a septic and well on the property. Liberty Boulevard, bed bugs, the property is vacant. 1415 South Main Street, ongoing problem with a overflowing dumpster. Route 627, conditions of the property, and the chief and I have been working on that property, right, chief? And we're going to give him, what, 30 days?
Well, I spoke to him on the phone and he said, that he was in the process, he was gonna start cleaning all of it up. I told him he had 30 days, I said, but if he continues to clean up, there's a lot out there. If he's continuing, I said that we would work with him.
Okay, thank you. New Brunswick Avenue, unlivable conditions with no water or oil at the foreclosed property. Food establishments. Finesville Park, we are working on it. We took the refrigerators out, the stove out, garbage out. We are working on it, and the road crew, threw everything away. Okay. The fields, the playground. The buildings, the Boy Scouts painted the buildings at the playgrounds, and the Rec Association paid for all the material.
Sal, and just on that point, I would like to have that, I believe it was a scout going for his eagle. I think it would be nice if we had him come to our next council meeting to just thank him for that.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah. I saw that, that was good.
Okay, thank you. The trailer that's at the Votech School, we'll be picking that up very shortly. The Votech students are working on our trailer. The windows were broke out of it, the floor was in bad shape, and they're painting it. I didn't see it, but presumably it's a good job. I think we should have chair rails out here in this hallway. We have some extra chairs back there. Sometimes we get a backlog of people. What do you gentlemen and ladies think?
I think if you get a quote, a couple quotes. But I think right now we'd have to go through the contractor. So maybe you'd price it from him, and then we could see if that's something you want to pursue or not.
Okay, for the public, we have good mulch up at the Crestwood Park. So if any of you or your friends want good mulch, now's the time to get it for free. Really looks good to me.
How would they have to load it, Sal, by hand or?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't keep a man there. You'll have to load it yourself unless our road crew is there. But we can't put a man there.
No.
The Carpenter Estate. I brought this up, I think, last month or the month before that. There's all these rules and regulations on this home. If we would take some of these rules and regulations off that home, maybe they could sell it. What do you think?
Which I'm not sure what you're.
Okay, you're not.
Oh, the Shimer Manor, sorry.
Yeah, the Shimer.
Okay. You mean take it off the historic, one of our historic
Yes.
designated properties?
Who's on the,
I am.
Frank,
You want to tackle that one?
You want to back?
I know where the historic commission stands on it. They say, as I said earlier, maybe we can get Kevin's input on this, we have an ordinance against demolition of historic sites, and it's currently being demolished, they say, by time, by neglect.
Yeah.
So You can go two ways. You can make it easier and let them
Or enforce the rules we have.
do whatever they want with it, or you can make it stricter and make them clean it up and make them.
Well,
Uh,
I wrote him a letter, I think it was today or yesterday, telling them to clean it up. You just want to wait a while or what?
I'd like to hear Kevin's idea.
Well, the ordinance that you've referenced was put in place several years ago because there was a threat that the building was going to be completely knocked down. So that ordinance was developed, and I think it was incorporated somewhere into our master plan for the very reason that we didn't want somebody to come in and be able to knock down these historic structures. And that we do have some legislative control over. So I think as long as that still is a goal, and I would suspect it is, I don't think taking it off the list would probably be something that we would want to do, since we took the trouble to put it and some other properties on such a list.
Yeah, I don't think you want to take that
So
off.
I don't think we want to do that. As far as the waste essentially that's occurring due to neglect and maintenance, unfortunately, whether you go to downtown Charleston or Savannah or maybe Cohaston, unless and until it becomes like a chambers issue with a health and safety is at stake, that there's not a lot you can do about that through an historic preservation ordinance. And I think actually leaving them on the ordinance we created, if somebody gets serious about restoring, actually helps them, because there's historic preservation funds that would be opened up because of the ordinance we did. So that was the other dual purpose. So I don't know, it's a shame that it's deteriorating, but I don't know that there's a lot legislatively more than we can do other than what they've already done.
If I'm not mistaken, I think what I hear from the Historic Commission is that in order to gain money to fix these things up, the town has to own them. And
The town would, if we were for us to fix it up, yes, we would absolutely have to own it.
Now, I know that in order for even to get a grant from somebody else,
Right.
we would have to own it. We don't want to give private people.
Right.
Like that was the reason the wine kiln.
Right.
We took ownership of the wine kiln so that we could get
Is there
grants.
some indication that the current owner does not want the property? Would they be willing to?
Well, they're trying to sell it,
They
right?
want
Trying
money
to
for it.
sell it, but
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 the
the
thing
whole
is, if
piece,
they're
right?
asking too much for it, nobody's going to want to buy it.
that's
They
right.
need to come down in the price, not change its designation.
But I don't think
I think the current price.
I don't think we want to.
It's down to around 280, but it's still probably too high.
I don't think we want to purchase it though.
No,
No, I don't know. We already own something else. We already own something else with Scheimer in it, and I don't think that was a good
Oh,
investment. So
I had nothing to do with that.
which one?
the school.
I said, don't buy it, don't buy it.
Sal, any?
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Okay, what's this here? I don't understand this one bill here. Riley's Outdoor Decor.
I'll talk about that. I'll speak to it.
All right, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Sal. Now let me go. First thing, did everyone see the correspondence from Tom Sharko from Alba Vineyard about the
Helicopter?
yeah, the right to, that is acceptable on the right to farm. I think I just read Tewksbury.
I did some research into it, Mayor, and the consensus I got was that that's common practice.
Yeah, just for the public's notification, the owner, Alba Vineyard is going to be potentially, well, actually they're going to be implementing a procedure that would use helicopters to defrost their grapes. It's a common practice in other states, and it's starting to be used in New Jersey. I know Mulix did it with I think their apples. So he's going to be pursuing this. I spoke to Tom yesterday, and he is willing to come before council and just ask questions. I talked to him. By no means is this going to be a procedure that he wants to do because it's very expensive. So I don't think he's going to just, for, you know, kicks and giggles, have helicopters flying around his property. But if there is a frost, he's going to, you know, do what he can to save his crop. So that's what that is. If everyone's okay with that, we'll have Tom come to our first meeting in June, just to explain the process. And really, he's not asking for permission, just kind of explaining, which I do appreciate. I mean, he didn't have to do that, so that was nice of him.
I think if they can have low-flying helicopters look for marijuana in our field. I think
That's true, yeah.
Now you can grow it for medical, you know.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Allow medical marijuana.
Sal, to speak on the point you made, the Riley's banners, that's for a motion on the agenda. That is for banners for the township. A lot of towns have welcome to banners that hang from the utility poles. There's a picture I believe I gave you all. For the public, it looks identical to the Welcome to Powhatan sign, which is brown, except they're red to go with the colors of the school. We're going to purchase, to print them after, if something were to get ruined, it'd be more expensive, so we're going to purchase 60. I'm working with the Historic Commission, which I did show to a few members, and they did like the way they looked, to where some good locations for them to hang would be. But I think that's just nice for the community. We just redid the municipal building, so I think it would be nice to have something throughout the township to let people know that they are in Powhatan. I know Phillipsburg has them and a few other towns in Pennsylvania. So that's what that is, Sal. I believe there is a picture in with your mail. If you don't, I'll show it to you.
Yeah, but we don't have the funds.
Yeah, we do. It's in the budget. Next thing, you'll see a motion on there for the website with CAS Design LLC. Our webmaster resigned about a month and a half ago due to personal issues, and I felt that rather than a member of council update the website, because we're not all going to be here forever, that Powhatan enter into a professional service with a company. I think it's safe to say that web service is a professional service. People do this as their career, and I think for your website really speaks volumes to you. Our website was placed in the bottom, even though they didn't do it on the official site, it was placed at the bottom of the list for the state, so I think that definitely shows a need for information. The site, it's a 25-page proposal. It includes, it's easily uploadable for different documents. It's going to feature a mobile version of your site, so in case of another emergency, if you have a smartphone or any type of iPad or iTouch with battery backup, you'll be able to get onto our website and it won't use as much data or power, and you'll be able to get quick information on that, so we felt that that would be an important. Also, it'll be able to upload other documents and be a lot more easier to find different documents on that site, including this. This proceeding will be able to be eventually live streamed onto that site, so people will be able to pretty much get any information they want from that website.
Isn't there a state requirement now that
Yeah,
you have to have a web presence?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's it going to cost?
$8,918.
The other thing, you will see a motion or a resolution. I don't know about you, but I have received several phone calls and complaints from different residents about the action that the school was making as far as the solar panels at the elementary school. I don't know if, Dave, you were at the meeting, but I sat on land use board. I did ask some questions about values of SRECs as far as what their value is, as far as the payback. And I wasn't comfortable with some of the information that the professional was giving. The best way I can describe with the situation is that would be like all of us today going out and buying Apple or Microsoft stock and thinking we're going to somehow make a profit off of it. I think the boat has sailed, and I think it's risky for a governing body in our town to use taxpayer money to almost play a stock market game with solar. Obviously, we have no control over the school board. They're a separate entity, but I just wanted to make it clear that I and whomever else on this council did not support that action. I think a lot of people do believe that we have some impact over the school, but we do not. When the law passed to put the budget on the November ballot, we no longer have any oversight at all. And finally, I would just like to, I think Dave had touched on this, is thank all of our employees during the mobile time period that we had, and then also the moving process. Everyone, I mean, we could have had to hire movers, but all of our employees pretty much carried their own stuff. Wendy brought in her daughter. Jeff coordinated with the U-Haul truck. He was able to bring in the CLAP program to have essentially free labor to help move. All of you, I thank you very much for everything that you did for the town. It was very helpful, and I don't think residents were too upset with the couple hours that we were offline on that Friday and Monday, so thank you. That being said, attorney's report.
Wait a minute. I would like to add to that. The move was monumental. I don't think too many of you know what went on. I know the girls really worked hard to make this move successful. And I appreciate everything they did. We all do. We all appreciate what they did, and the road department too. They worked hard to making this move a success. And I have nothing but thanks, and the rest of the council does too. Let's see. That's it for now.
All right, Kevin?
Mayor, just to follow up, Amy Becker mentioned the mall. I should probably briefly update you and the council in executive session that there has been some numbers bandied about. But I think that we'll reserve that for a brief executive session litigation update. Chambers we discussed. There was a letter that we received, actually every municipality in the state received last month about turning over COA fees. If you recall last year, the planner and myself came up with really the only viable strategy to save. We had about $500,000 of collected affordable housing fees, which were collected over time from developments that happened in the town, the largest chunk being the Walmart, actually, the first Walmart development years ago. So we had about $500,000. That money was supposed to stay in the township to be used for township infrastructure projects and the like. The Christie administration, through COA, decided that they wanted to take all that money. So they implemented a procedure where it was going to all go down to the state. About a year ago, we got a letter saying, hey, if you don't have the money spent or committed to be spent by, I think it was July of last year, there's going to be a turnover, and the money's going to be leaving your town and not stay here. So the planner, myself, and this council, we came together, we decided, look, we already spent a little over $500,000 buying the Shimer School way back when. That's not going to develop as a municipal building or anything else that was originally contemplated for. Why don't we make that an affordable housing project, put deed restrictions on it, and then we can reimburse ourselves so that the money at least stays in our own township. We did that. The restrictions are in place in terms of a deed restriction of record. Our Susan Gruhl from Higher Gruhl, our planner, amended the spending plan. This has all been verbally approved by COA, but our spending plan, along with the other 500 municipalities in the state, have been sitting on their desk for a year, waiting to be signed. In the meantime, there was a lawsuit filed by a variety of housing advocates that the original turnover letter was repealed by judicial action. We've now gotten a new letter a year later trying to re-invoke that seizure, if you will. And they're being a little bit cute because, you know, the certification they want each mayor to sign, including our mayor, talks about, well, have you spent the money in accordance with an approved spending plan? Or spending plan modification to allow the reimbursement for Shimer School never was technically approved, as was none other amendment in any other township. So they're kind of being cute here. But the good news is that the housing advocates have gone back to court. A new injunction has been issued by the appellate division. So we don't have to take any action at this point in time. And I'll continue to coordinate with Susan. I actually copied Lorraine with an email today. I'm not even sure if we've reimbursed ourselves yet out of that account. But the debate and the struggle with COA and the state and everything else continues. So it'll be important to this town. Although I think you know, if we had to, frankly, that would merit our own individual litigation. Because there's a lot of money there at stake, and this process was approved by them, all but the signature on the paper. So,
You know if that money has been included in the governor's budget? Like, is he anticipating?
I don't
getting it?
know the answer to that. I mean, he's trying to abolish the whole program, and there's about 3 different lawsuits going on. One's sitting in the Supreme Court right now over whether he can abolish the.
Well, if he abolished the program, then he can have the money, right?
We still like to reimburse ourselves for the Shimer School, and I think that's reasonable because we're trying to develop right now a procedure for, you know, put seniors or
I
veterans.
read that document, it's saying that we did not do what was required, and therefore we have to.
It was a standard letter.
They're saying that to all 5
All right, and so
municipalities.
that makes the second date.
That's all.
when there is-
Correct.
okay.
We're not sending in the CERB. We're certainly not sending in the check. So we'll continue to
I
monitor.
think we all got a little frightened because we did
Yeah,
get that,
I
and
thought we had done.
Yeah,
that.
it was very generic language. So,
That letter, everybody got them. As I understand it, I spoke with Susan Gould today. I said, Susan, our plan was signed, was it not? Because that was my understanding. Sean Thompson, it was on his desk before we even put that easement in place. And he said, she told me that only one township in the whole state got their amended spending plan approved, and that's only because they had an active litigation in the court order required the signature. So we're in the same boat with about 500 other municipalities.
Is there anyone that we can contact down at the state to get our plan, amended plans on welcome?
take a number.
It's a mess down there. No, I think it's going to have to be in the court. The only thing I'm going to try to find out is if this litigation, if they're accepting any short amicus briefs from any of the townships. I think I discussed with Susan, it may be worth me sending in just a very short letter brief saying, hey, you know, here's one example. We've done everything right. We want to spend this money.
That's probably the route that the state will take too, because then some towns won't be proactive and just lose it. Yeah, and then it's a win.
Some townships have like $5,000, $6,000 at stake. We have $500,000 at stake. So the interest varies.
Yeah.
So that's a significant issue. Speaking of the website, I think it'll be interesting at this point which website you want to adapt, because we have now, as I understand it, we have the contracts in-house.
The executive, yeah.
We talked about that briefly, executive, but we should be able to control Platcon.com in the near future.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it would just cross-port it, whatever our guy does, but that was important. So beyond that, I think it's been a reasonably quiet month.
I think so.
Gwen did the Title 39 jurisdiction ordinance. I appreciate that. I have not. It's just a wall of silence over there, by the way, at the Walmart. I've called, we've sent letters, and they had a temerity to ask for bonds back. So we're not giving them anything back till they address the mess.
Several issues.
And several other issues over there. But I did send them that letter saying, hey, if we don't hear from you, we're going to assume that you're consenting to the Title 39 jurisdiction ordinance. And Gwen has prepared it, and I think we're going to tag their land use account for that.
Okay.
Kevin, did you hear anything on that $18,000 bill that the insurance company wanted us to pay?
They still want us to pay it, but I got that in an informal email. Frank, and I've asked them to put that in writing. I was rather disappointed with that, frankly. So we'll see. We'll wrangle with them a little bit further. I'm going to try to get Charter Partners, our law adjuster, involved with that too, and see if they can help us out a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
That all, Kevin? Kevin, you good?
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on. Resolutions. Everything except for the amended, introduced budget. Do we want to take them together or separate?
I have no problem taking it.
Do I have a motion then?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Becker?
Yes.
Swett?
Yes.
Greenwood? Yes. Angeli?
Opposing Powhatan Township Schools solar farm project. Do you think we should have a representative from the school and we could ask to come here and we could ask some questions or her?
They've been before the land use board and questions were asked.
They were asked what was the land use board's position?
I think it was 8-1, I believe.
What, against it?
No, in favor.
In favor of?
Yeah, but I,
You were the one, I guess.
I was the one.
I don't think I was there.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
I was at that meeting.
Yeah, Frank was in the public, yeah.
As a part of the public. And I asked the question, where did this money come from? I mean, $1.5 million. If you've got this much money to invest in a solar project, you must have been paying too much taxes over the last many years.
What were you told, Frank? I was told it had something to do with the high school.
I don't remember that being said. I recall what it was being said was, we gotta spend it or we're gonna lose it type of thing.
Well, this money can only be used for capital projects. And,
Another capital
but yeah, and there was an interesting comment. A member of the public said, well, could we put them on the roof? And one of the representatives said, well, the roof's old and we don't want to damage the roof. So maybe you should use the capital to fix the roof.
Oh, you don't want to.
But
No, I said, why don't you replace it?
they'll fix the roof. And I mean, these are just, I think because you have the money doesn't mean you have to spend it. So that's,
One other item there, you mentioned SREX, and, I'm involved in a project in Franklin Township, excuse me, as well. And my understanding is new net metering rules were just adopted by BPU. And for a project like this that's developed by a public entity such as the school, the project, you're not going to have any SREX to speak of because you're only allowed to design a project that basically can service the needs of the school facility. So there's not going to be
a chance to resell.
No, it's not. You're not going to.
Well, the other thing too is when
Maybe a very small amount, if any, but it's not designed for that any longer, and it's never going to be. The SREC market is.
Well, it was a gold rush, and some people got to it. It's like any other market. And
so I mean, you got to count. You got to look at the dollars as it as a depreciating capital asset. Is it worth $1.5 million or not? Because you're not going to get SRECs, I don't believe, out of a municipal project because you're not allowed to anymore with these new net metering rules.
you can discuss. You can still discuss. Yeah. Yes, Sal. We're
at the we're voting on.
Sal, we're at you for the vote.
Wait a minute, I'm just thinking here. What's the payback on this here? 10 years?
10 years at the rates that they did the study on, which they continue to depreciate. Yeah, you don't know what they're going to do.
Okay, now, the planning board, they voted that they were in favor of it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What's the vote now? 3-4?
No, 2-0 right now. You want us to go around and go to you? Can we do that? Mary, what's your vote?
I thought I already voted.
Did you? Oh, shit, so it's 3-0. Oh, you know how I voted? I voted at the land use board, so.
Why were they in favor of it, Jim?
I think they were just looking at it from a land use perspective as far as, distance and things like that. They didn't, yeah, they wasn't, no one was asking, I was the only one asking questions about that, about the actual solar. They don't have.
It's also a courtesy review.
It's a courtesy. They don't have to come before the board.
Jurisdiction.
They can do whatever they want.
There's usually not even a formal vote on that type of courtesy review. So their vote was meaningless. The school board comes as a courtesy.
Boy. No, I don't want to.
Do you want to?
I'll take a stand. You don't want to discuss this with them once more.
I don't know what you.
It's been, they've discussed it at
They-
public meetings for the school board.
There's been, yeah, they've had meetings at the school board. They've come before the land use board. It's been in the paper.
Yeah, it's been.
So, I mean, it's,
Okay, I'll go along with you.
okay. Yes. Okay. Ordinances, first one, 13-05, to establish Title 39 jurisdiction of the Walmart Supercenter property, the Commons in the Township of Cohasset, New Jersey. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Handler, yes, and Joe.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know what that was.
Piece of paper rubbing on.
Oh, motions, do we want to take these separately or can we do them all together?
I don't have a
Let's
problem
take them.
with doing them all together, but I feel like somebody might want them
Let's take them separately.
separately. Can we group some of them together?
Is there one that you don't want to vote on, Sal?
Wait a minute. Janelle House, that's the CFO, not the CFO.
Treasurer, former treasurer. And then the one right next to it is to the replacement, Susan Shire.
Oh, you gotta,
It was advertised.
one at a time.
All right, do I have a motion?
Can we take all except a few?
Okay, wait a minute.
Actually, we could just is there a motion to accept all of these together? Can we do that?
I'll move that.
Okay, is there a second for that? Second, okay.
Okay, so
So, yeah.
do you want to just do an all in favor on that to take them all together?
Yeah. And Sal will vote no. And it'll be 4-1. Okay? Is that okay, Sal?
Okay.
That way you're, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we're voting separate, okay.
Huh?
Becker,
Yes?
Slack,
Yes.
Van Wert, yes, Vangelli,
No,
and Byrne.
Yes. Okay. That's all of them. Okay, public comment. If you have any public comment, please come up, sign in, state your name and address. Is there any public comment? Please come up.
Jerry Kern.
Please put 2 next to
I'd
that.
like to thank the council for the no vote for this solar. I was at that meeting. The mayor stated it correctly. that they missed the boat. SRECs aren't holding any value, even with efforts of legislation. There's just too much renewable energy credits out there and not enough demand. So the prices continue to go down. And at that meeting, the representative for the solar company did a fine job at selling the land use board. A lot of his facts were misstated. When I asked him what the SREX number he was using, he told me it was they allowed $260 a credit to calculate the payback. And at that time, I think he was saying it was 7 to 10 years. And I asked him the actual value of an SREX today. He said $60. So I asked him how he got $260. That was a number he projected it might go to. Since then, I've done a lot of research on it, and it's not expected to go very high at all. Actually, it may go down. I'm not sure about what Mr. Bendick was saying. If that's the case, it's even worse. Assuming they can receive SREX, they're only allowed to receive them for 15 years, even though the project's expected to last 20 to 25. But that's back to me, the way I calculate it, possibly 20 years, assuming nothing goes wrong with the panels and no one's out there fixing them. They missed the boat, and not only that, I think they paid $100,000 or $150,000 for someone to tell them all about this. So they really got taken. And I appreciate the fact that you let them know that we're loud and clear here. That it was a big mistake, and I don't know who's getting paid there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Probably be better to keep away from that microphone or move it up that way,
Right.
so you're not speaking too close to it.
Les Nichols for Hack Farm Township. I spoke in an earlier meeting about the township property here being remodeled and needing work. It was right before a heavy rain, suggesting maybe the council could stop in after the rain to see some of the site conditions. Well, it rained, and I came here, and unfortunately, I guess the council was busy, nobody else was here. I took some pictures on the site and left to present them to the council. Other side, the morning after heavy rain, the site itself has basically been torn up for quite a while. I think memory serves for a year of completion is like a year of repaving. So in 2 years, if this lawn hasn't established and stabilized by now, it's probably not going to get any better because this is prime time to grow grass. And it gets to be in July and August, it's not going to get better than it is now. There's some serious erosion going on right in the backyard, down across the parking lot. And I don't know about the water velocity necessary, but there's some gravel from 3/4 of an inch, inch and a half gravel, and transported with the fill dirt across the parking lot down over into the river. One picture, we talked about the Chambers property, the Class 1 trout stream. It clearly shows that the water coming over the back hill here is more discolored than the creek itself. And the Chambers property is upstream. So before the contractor pulls out of town, I asked the council to do what they can to get this lot stabilized and stop the erosion because we're only talking about 100 yards, 150 yards from the road. And that's some pretty serious velocity if it's moving that kind of stone down the hill, across the parking lot, and right in directly into the stream. So we can do something to slow that down and stop the sediment and just get the place stabilized. It looks like, I don't know what happened to the topsoil, but there's not much topsoil.
There isn't any.
Well, just part of the process of reviewing the site, Gwen is the site engineer for the project, and Gwen walked through, was it last week, Gwen? Yeah. Last week, and we are aware of all of this, and they're going to have to complete that before they leave the job. So, yeah, we are aware of
The material that's there, which is not topsoil. Take
it is rock.
Construction debris that's still in it and put stock topsoil in.
Right, that's it.
We hold money back if we can guarantee them to take it down or not.
There should be retainers.
Yeah. Any other public comment?
Kevin Snyder. A couple things. I I think it's unfair to the school to be voting against what they want to do without having a representative here. I don't know all the facts about what was going on, or what, I mean, the numbers. People are making comments about numbers and SRECs and things of that nature, and there's really nobody here to dispute it or agree or anything else. It was my understanding that the SRECs were, in addition to just the general savings in expenses per year. I don't know what those numbers were. I thought it was $90,000 a year just in electric savings alone. But I think they should have had at least a representative, or offered to have a representative here for that. The Chambers property was talked about earlier. I know the town over the past spent a lot of time and money and effort trying to get Mr. Chambers to clean up his property. Unfortunately, he has since passed, and the family, or part of the family, has inherited the property. There's a lot of people, to my understanding, that are involved with the property. It's taken some time to get the ownership straightened out. It's not a pot of gold over there. They didn't inherit a gold mine. There's been dispute over ownership. A lot of people have their hand in the pot. So I think they've gotten that somewhat straightened out, and to my knowledge and comments I've received and read about, is at least a lot of the neighbors are happy with what's going on there. So maybe give them a chance to keep going with what they're doing and get it cleaned up. I just have the ball fields were mentioned. Sal mentioned about all the mulch over there. I know in the past we've had issues and complaints from the rec association about the poison that grows along that bank by the ball fields there. I know they've asked us to spray it, and they asked the town to spray it in the past, and the guys are certified to spray. Maybe we could use some of that mulch just to mulch that whole bank between the two fields there, and that would just keep the weeds down. I think it'd be pretty simple. If they could just dump a lot of it right down the bank and spread it out and take care of the weed problem, and we wouldn't have to spray. And we already have the mulch there. That's just an idea I wanted to throw out there to use it, and if it's just sitting there anyway. I just have a question, one other comment. I noticed there's a lot of stone from the front of the building left. I was wondering if there's anything set up to use that, to maybe you could reface the front of the garage to get it to match at least the rest of the building.
We're getting a quote on that, yeah.
I think that would be good. I mean, you got a lot of, so it seems like there'd be probably close to enough to at least do the front, and it would maybe paint the rest so it would kind of matches. I have one question, and it was mentioned earlier, but I was mentioned the last meeting, but I don't think anybody said what happened with the tax bill. Obviously, we received the incorrect tax bill and then received the second one. Who paid for the screw up there, or the mix up, or whatever happened, the cost and expense of remailing the taxes and all that? I mean, it might be minor, but we're talking about, pinching pennies, and I just wondered, did we eat the cost of having to remail that out, or is it the township mix up, or was it the tax assessor's mix up?
Well, again, what happened was we changed tax assessors last year. There are two files, from what I understand. One is a working file where the assessor keeps his notes. The second is the file which they use to calculate the formula. And if both files are kept filled in, a median number, I believe, is filled in. That's how it was described to me. The new tax assessor that we hired last year did not know that there were some numbers still in that first file. They were sent out, and the numbers were messed up. We then corrected I believe the bill we wanted to mail everyone a letter rectifying the problem and sending out a card and the new card. We could not do that, and then left people confused. So I think it was about $3,000 to send another letter to every resident. I think for the confusion, I think it was money well spent.
And I did speak to Ben Murdoch, the tax assessor, about that, and I asked him, can we put this to a vendor who sends out the stuff? And he said there's enough blame to go around that we'd have a hard time getting reimbursed. I think a lot of it, I think I mentioned it the last meeting, was the transitional problem between the old tax assessor and the new tax assessor.
So we had to eat it then? It was on the township, the $3,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Thank you, Mayor Kern. Louis Cardabona from Alpha. Looking around the room, there may be some of us who remember a TV commercial many decades ago. Native American Iron Eyes Cody, I believe was his name, was canoeing down a stream that had tons of garbage. I came before the Powhatan Land Use Board in March, and after that meeting and my comments about the horrendous amount of garbage that was flowing off of the commercial sites around the Walmart area, between the call that I put into the DOT and the Land Use Board's efforts, they came up and cleaned along the road right away, which was a great benefit. But as you looked around, there was so much amount of horrendous garbage that's still out there that you really wonder if Iron Eyes Cody was walking through or coming around Powhatan, there would definitely be a tear in his eyes. That being said, I hope that this governing body would work with your environmental commission to think of creative ways to try to control the garbage that's basically just flowing from these sites. That's I can only believe that if it's not controlled, it'll degrade all the communities in the surrounding area. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
comment.
Thank you, Lou. Any other public comment?
Jim,
Yes, sir.
you want to announce this 10:30?
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll do that under.
You'll do
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
All right, give that back to me.
Let me keep it so I can remember it. Okay. Do I have a motion then for executive session? It will be contractual and potential litigation, Kevin? Is that, or
No decision. They're just pending litigation.
pending litigation? There will be a decision.
I'll move that.
Yeah, there will be. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Becker?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Dan Lewis? Dan Jelly?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. No.
Oh!
You gotta eat it.
That's a good idea. Oh, right in that spot.
Gotta eat it. Okay. Are we back on? All right. Do I have a motion? If you could, but yeah. Do I have a motion to come back into public session?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Kevin, can you phrase?
Mayor, just, from benefit of the public, I gave the council an update on the Powhatan Mall litigation. I can't say more to the public other than that there have been some exchanges of numbers. I'm certainly not satisfied with what they want in terms of tax adjustment. So, but it's, at a negotiating sensitive point. So I just gave an update to the council. The other item, which I think we can take action on, is, as you guys may know, we don't, up until tonight, control Powhatan.com as a domain name. One of our employees in his department actually was running our website for our emails. I didn't actually know it for years as a courtesy, but he does own that name. We went back and forth with him in terms of making him modify the website because it simply looked too official and people were mistakenly thinking it was our website. And that's not helpful when we're trying to get public information out in agencies and so on and so forth. So we've reached an amicable accord with Mr. McBride. In this case, it's the Mars, the company he created to run the website, to acquire the website. It is personal property. So we can, I guess, entertain a motion to execute the agreement with DeMar to acquire Powhatan.com, which should tie in nicely with our new web designer, and we'll be able to redirect that traffic.
What are we paying this new guy?
It's in your thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, what about then it'll be it's August 1st, the site will come down?
He has, I believe it's some type of a little league or something primarily, and there's a sign-up time frame. He did public service things, but he also had private things on there. So he wanted until August 1 to get basically everything off the site, and then he's going to coordinate with our new webmaster, if you will, to get everything transferred over to our ownership and control. So I would expect by the end of the summer, certainly by the end of August, we will be able to.
And he had been maintaining the website for about 18 years before we,
Yeah.
you know.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah, he did do a public service. I'll give him credit. The, as I said, actually our emails were actually running through there until you guys got it up and going recently. So.
Yeah, and I think just to reiterate, this whole process was, we felt that the township should have a separate website that should not be maintained by an employee who works for the town, who not only works for the town, but is also a union member of the town, who could potentially have access to our emails. I think if anything should be taken out of this, is that we thank him for what he did for the town, for being forward thinking, while the town was not in that time period. And that's all we can really do. The number we came at for the 15 to 18 years, I don't know where you break it off, was $10,000. So is there a motion?
I moved it.
Okay.
And that will not be paid incidentally, Mayor. I've discussed that with Dean. He will not get paid until he submits a voucher, until after we actually have physical control of the website. So we'll maintain that leverage.
Yeah, and for the record, this was anticipated in our budget. We did expect this. So there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Steve Baker,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Van Loon,
Yes.
Angelic,
Yes.
and Kern.
Yes. All right.
Sal, this is yours.
One more thing Sal wanted me to read to everyone is that on, let me see here. Actually, Sal, this looks like it's a private RSVP.
I got the letter too.
Yeah, I don't think.
Just sent to council?
Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily for a whole boatload of people to go to. I think it's just like a private tour. Well, the gist of it is the St. James Lutheran Church is a very old and historic church. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Let's put this to rest.